The Bermuda Triangle. Just saying the name conjures up images of ghost ships, disappearing planes, and a swirling vortex of paranormal activity somewhere between Bermuda, Florida, and Puerto Rico. For decades, this patch of the Atlantic Ocean has been the world's most famous mystery. But what if I told you that most of what you've heard is just that, a story? Today we're sailing straight into the heart of the legend to separate the myths from the facts and uncover the real truth behind the Bermuda Triangle. It all started in the 1950s. Articles and books began to pop up, compiling lists of ships and planes that had vanished without a trace in this specific area. The most famous case, and the one that really kicked off the whole legend, was Flight 19. In 1945, 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine training mission. They never returned. Even the rescue planes sent to find them also vanished. Sounds spooky, right? A squadron of military planes and a rescue craft, gone. The story goes that the flight leader was heard on the radio saying they were lost, that everything looked strange, and that they were entering white water. This case became the poster child for the Bermuda Triangle mystery. Authors like Charles Berlitz, in his 1974 bestseller The Bermuda Triangle, sensationalized these stories, suggesting that alien abductions, time warps, or even technology from the lost city of Atlantis were to blame. The public ate it up. The idea of a mysterious supernatural force swallowing up vessels was far more exciting than any logical explanation. The legend grew, with more and more disappearances being attributed to the triangle, each one adding another layer to the myth. But here's where the story starts to unravel. When you look closer at these famous cases, the paranormal explanations start to look a lot less convincing. Let's go back to Flight 19. It's true the planes disappeared. But what the sensational stories often leave out is crucial context. The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, was new to the area and had a history of getting lost. The weather that day turned unexpectedly severe, with high winds and rough seas. His compasses were likely malfunctioning, and radio transmissions from the time show a team of increasingly disoriented pilots flying in darkness over a raging sea. They probably ran out of fuel and crashed. And the rescue plane that vanished? It was a Martin Mariner aircraft, which was notoriously known as a flying gas tank due to its tendency to leak fuel vapors. It likely exploded mid-air, an event witnessed by a ship in the area. Tragic, yes. Mysterious? Not so much. What about the other famous cases? The USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship that vanished in 1918 with over 300 people on board. This is often cited as the single largest loss of life in the Triangle. But again, context is key. The Cyclops was carrying a heavy load of manganese ore, which can become unstable. It was known to have engine problems, and it was sailing into an area prone to sudden violent storms. The ship never sent an SOS, but back then radio technology was not what it is today. A sudden capsize in a massive storm would explain the lack of a distress call and the absence of wreckage. It's a pattern you see again and again. The Carroll A. Deering, a 5-masted schooner found wrecked and abandoned in 1921. It looks like a classic ghost ship story. But historical records show the crew was near mutiny, and the ship had just sailed through a powerful hurricane. The most likely scenario involves the crew abandoning the ship, or a mutiny followed by an attempt to escape in lifeboats that were then lost in the storm. So, if these famous cases have logical explanations, why does the legend persist? Well, it's a combination of human psychology and some good old-fashioned storytelling. Our brains are wired to find patterns, and we love a good mystery. It's more fun to imagine a portal to another dimension than to think about bad weather and human error. Authors and TV producers capitalized on this, cherry-picking data and omitting key facts to make the stories seem more mysterious than they really were. They would often stretch the boundaries of the triangle to include disappearances that happened hundreds of miles away, or include ships that were later found, or that sank in completely different parts of the world. One of the biggest mythbusters is a man named Larry Kusha. In the 1970s, he decided to do what no one else had bothered to do. He went back and checked the original records. He read old Navy reports, weather archives, and newspaper articles. What he found was shocking. Many of the so-called mysterious disappearances either never happened at all, happened far outside the triangle, or had perfectly logical explanations that were simply ignored by the myth makers. For example, some ships reported as vanished were simply delayed by storms and arrived safely at their destination a few days late, but the story of their disappearance had already taken hold. Kirsch's book, The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved, laid out the facts, case by case, showing how the legend was built on a foundation of shoddy research and sensationalism. So let's talk about the facts. Is there anything unusual about the Bermuda Triangle at all? Geographically, it's a pretty interesting place. It's one of the deepest parts of the Atlantic Ocean, with the Puerto Rico Trench plunging down over 27,000 feet. The Gulf Stream, a powerful and swift ocean current, runs through it, which can quickly disperse any wreckage, making it hard to find. The weather here is also notoriously unpredictable. It's in a hurricane alley, and sudden, intense microstorms can pop up out of nowhere, creating massive rogue waves that can easily capsize even large ships. And what about those compass problems? The idea of compasses spinning wildly is a cornerstone of the legend. There is a grain of truth here, but it's not paranormal. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the few places on Earth where true north and magnetic north line up. This is called a gonic line. As you move across this area, your compass can shift slightly as it adjusts, which could confuse an inexperienced navigator, especially in the days before GPS, but it's a predictable natural phenomenon, not a mysterious force. Another theory that's been proposed involves methane gas hydrates. The idea is that huge bubbles of methane gas could erupt from the ocean floor, suddenly lowering the density of the water and causing ships to sink almost instantly. While this is theoretically possible and has been demonstrated in a lab, there is no solid evidence that a methane gas eruption has ever been the cause of a disappearance in the Bermuda Triangle. It remains a fascinating but unproven hypothesis. So, what is the official word on all this? If you ask the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. Navy, or major insurance companies like Lloyd's of London, they will all tell you the same thing. The Bermuda Triangle does not exist. It's not recognized on any official maps. They state that the number of disappearances in this area is not proportionally greater than in any other heavily trafficked part of the ocean. Think about it. This is a major shipping route with thousands of boats and planes crossing it every single day. With that much traffic combined with volatile weather, accidents are statistically inevitable. They aren't mysterious. They are tragic realities of sea and air travel. The truth about the Bermuda Triangle is that there is no truth to the mystery. The legend is a product of our fascination with the unknown, amplified by authors who were more interested in selling books than reporting facts. The real story is one of powerful storms, deep waters, human error, and technological failure. It's a testament to the power of nature and the risks our ancestors took to explore the world. So next time you hear someone talking about alien bases or time warps in the Atlantic, you can tell them the real story. The story isn't about monsters or portals. It's about how a myth was born, how it grew, and how, with a little bit of critical thinking, it can be completely debunked. The ocean will always have its dangers and its secrets, but the Bermuda Triangle isn't one of them. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think? Were you a believer in the mystery? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed diving into this mystery with me, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more myth-busting adventures. See you next time.